Everyone has their go-to dishes and signature recipes that they prepare for family parties and big functions. These dishes vary vastly depending on where you live in the United States. In 2018, Google released statistics on the most searched for recipes in every state over the past year. Recipe searches for gumbo in Louisiana or crab dip in Maryland don't seem out of the ordinary, but you might be surprised that Nevadans are cooking chicken adobo and people in Idaho have a craving for crepes. Keep reading to see the most popular dishes in every state. Texas, tortilla soup. Mark Boster/Los Angeles Times via Getty Images. As it sits on the southern border of the country, it's not surprising that Texas has a notable Mexican influence, especially on its food. Tex-Mex, anyone? So it makes sense that Texans have been Googling recipes for tortilla soup. The time of year is irrelevant for comfort food, and tortilla soup is no exception. There are different variations of the recipe, but at the heart of it is a tangy broth of chilies, tomatoes and other spices, with tender chicken and fresh tortilla strips. No matter what recipe you find, your Latina grandma still probably makes it better than anyone else. Indiana, Buckeye. Stephen DePolo/Flickr Hoosiers, as Indiana residents are unofficially called, have a bit of a sweet tooth for Buckeyes. Buckeye candy is essentially a peanut butter fudge ball covered in chocolate. One of the simplest ways to make it is to combine confectioner's sugar, peanut butter, vanilla, and a pinch of salt until smooth. After scooping the mixture into bite-sized balls and refrigerating them, you dip them in chocolate and stick a toothpick in them for easy handling. The candy is so named for its resemblance to the nut of the Buckeye tree, which is actually the state tree of neighboring Ohio. Wyoming, banana bread. Education Images/Uk via Getty Images. It might be safe to say that the main thing that brings anyone to Wyoming are the great national parks that inhabit it, but sadly it's not enough to keep people there, which is probably why Wyoming has the smallest U.S. population. Still, a popular Google search among Wyoming's handful of residents is banana bread. Most banana bread recipes are more or less the same and quite simple. You can also usually add your own twist with walnuts or chocolate chips. It's perfect for when your bunch of bananas grew too ripe before you had a chance to eat them all. You'll never guess which of Wyoming's neighbors also has a hankering for bread. And it's not banana either. Louisiana, gumbo. Cyrus McCrimmon, The Denver Post via Getty Images. The #1 searched recipe in Louisiana is gumbo, which honestly is no surprise to anyone since it's the official state cuisine. Gumbo is a delectable stew that varies depending on who makes it and where you get it. Regardless of whether it's Creole, Cajun, or New Orleans style, most gumbos typically start out the same. The strong, roux-based stock is cooked with shellfish or meat and Louisiana's holy trinity, celery, bell peppers, and onions. The stew is usually thickened with okra or fly powder, and when ready to eat, is traditionally served over rice. North Carolina, snow cream. Pinterest. North Carolina does see snowfall every year, but primarily in the mountainous regions. Regardless, that's a good enough explanation as to why snow cream recipes are among the most searched for North Carolina folk. Most recipes do call for actual snow, but shaved ice is a good alternative for those who live somewhere where snow is just not an option. The recipe for this ice cream alternative is simple and delicious. Just mix some freshly fallen snow with condensed milk and a hint of vanilla. For those worried about pollution in the snow, shaved ice is the safe alternative. Utah, zucchini bread. Amy Brothers / The Denver Post. While Wyoming noshes on banana bread, its southwestern neighbor Utah has a different bread in mind. Zucchini bread is the most Googled recipe in Utah, and it's actually just as simple as banana bread. Zucchini bread uses grated zucchini. This vegetable makes for a bread that is usually not too sweet, but it's not plain tasting either. But for those who do have a sweet tooth, you could make your zucchini bread the way they like to do it in Utah, by adding plenty of chocolate chips. Zucchini bread makes for the perfect fuel while hiking in Utah's beautiful national parks. Coming up, see what surprising chicken dish people in Nevada are learning how to cook. Ohio, sausage gravy. Bonnie Joe Mount / The Washington Post via Getty Images. Folks in the Midwest must be hankering for some biscuits and gravy because the most Googled recipe in Ohio is for sausage gravy. This might seem a bit odd considering that it's widely thought of as a southern dish, but it only goes to show that Ohioans have good taste in breakfast food. To make sausage gravy, one starts out by cooking loose pork sausage and combining the remaining fat with flour to create a roux. Depending on the recipe, milk and seasonings are then added to create a thick gravy. All you need now are some fresh, fluffy biscuits. Connecticut, quiche. Deb Lindsay for The Washington Post via Getty Images. Quiche recipes have been the most common Google search for Connecticut folks. The versatile pastry hails from France and is primarily made of eggs. Eggs, milk or cream, cheese and a selection of meats and veggies are cooked in a pastry crust for a delightful savory treat that can be enjoyed any time of the day. Though quiche is widely considered French cuisine, early iterations of the dish that date as early as the 13th century have been traced to Italy and England. Wherever it came from, quiche today is often found at parties or served at breakfast. Nevada, chicken adobo. Deb Lindsay for The Washington Post via Getty Images. There's not much to Nevada other than Las Vegas and Carson City. There's not much else to the state other than desert and mountains.